Yeah,
we need to do something about this. Like it shouldn't have taken that long, and it should not have come to the point where people were literally in.
We got, if again, the silver lining out of that was we got some amazing memes out of that though.
And we got to sit back and chill and watch.
My favorite one, of course, was the one of the black dude in the puffy jacket.
Oh,
Which, like, if I was a STEMI, where would I hide? Like that was gold right there. Like I was like, okay, I can shake it down. Man. So, but yeah, congratulations to Uncle Joe, as I've been calling him. And First Lady Auntie Kamala, first, is it Madam Vice President? Yeah, Madam Vice President Auntie Kamala. Yeah, she's gonna have a really good title with me. But other than that, though, welcome to the White House, 46, and
signed those executive orders. You kind of look a little old though.
And I don't know, man. I seen him.
Just day one.
I think he'll be all right, man. I seen him jogging.
Seen
him jogging a little bit, man.
Hey, look, man. And you know, every president come in. When they come in, they look younger.
It happened to Obama. It happened to Obama.
Look completely different.
And
this is day one.
President Obama definitely aged 20 years.
Exactly.
And now Michelle, she pressed pause on her clock. She definitely pressed pause on her clock, and she was like, "Y'all not about to grade me early, and y'all not about to wrinkle my face early." So kudos to But so do you want to go ahead and lead us into introducing our guest?
So as you may see and may have heard, we do have some very special guests with us today, and they are going to be talking to us about finances, savings, 401ks, all of that. So we'll try to cover as much as we can in the time frame that we have. But if you all would like to go ahead and introduce yourselves and, just tell a little bit about who you are and what you do. You don't have to get into too many details just yet, but just kind of like a general overview. We'll start with you.
Okay, my name is Terrence Holt, born and raised from Nashville. I am an insurance and retirement advisor. I also do investments and stocks as well too. And that's it.
Awesome. Okay.
So I'm Christopher Watson, born and raised Nashville. I'm a co-owner of a company called the Credit Rooms, and then I'm also a partner with Johnson Capital as well. I focus on investments, credit, everything.
Awesome.
I'm Marcus Johnson, president of Johnson Capital, where we specialize in financial planning, retirement, estate planning, et cetera, et cetera. We're just here to help as many people as we can get on the right track.
Awesome. And as you all have noticed, these are all Nashville natives and what people usually call us unicorns.
North Nashville natives. Every guy that y'all see on the camera is from out north. So fortunately, I had the pleasure of growing up with these three gentlemen and just watching their growth from, like I said, in casual convo earlier prior to cameras, from middle school on up to us being in our early 30s. So just watching their growth has been very monumental and what they are doing for the community. Now, people know Marcus for being on the financial side, and most definitely if you are in Nashville and you are on Facebook or Instagram, you know the no cap king over here, Terrence, for being a financial guru. Now, Chris is kind of, I'm not going to say he's the newcomer to the table, but you just had some recent success with, was it Ebony or Essence magazine?
Black Enterprise.
Black Enterprise.
Yeah, Black Enterprise, Face to Face Africa, a couple other different ones.
Yeah, so speak to us about what those articles were about.
Yeah, man, so me and a guy, his name is Aaron Steve, we partnered up. It's kind of weird how we met. We actually met on a Facebook post. We didn't know each other face to face. We kind of had the same philosophy, just wanted to help people in the community as far as credit, home ownership, and finances as well. So we actually just partnered up. And what happened happened was they was kind of keeping track of what we were doing, and then Black Enterprise. It was actually BlackNews.com that reached out to us, and we had helped 50 homeowners get homes within 6 months.
That's dope.
So that kind of just boom went viral, and that's what we're doing business.
That's dope, man. That's dope, man. You got
No, Mike, I was just gonna ask just like a general question, like what influenced you to get into finances? And this is the question that all three of you all can answer, because I know like typically like within the Black community, that's not a subject that's talked about within Black homes because we just don't know, we don't have the knowledge. So what interested you? Like, how did you get on this path?
For me, try to make a long story short, but it wasn't short.
Can be a honest path, but
Right. So basically, me and Marcus, Chicago went to the same school.
Shout out NSA.
NSA. My dad, he would always say, "Well, Terrence, what do you want to go to school? You want to play music?" I said, "No, I don't want to get into music." So he tried to throw some ideas out there. And one day he said, "Well, what do you think about stocks?" And I said, "What are stocks?" He said, "Stocks." I said, "Like chicken stock?" He said, "No." He's like, "It's a company." So he gave me a brief overview about it, and he had said, "I'll try to get some information for you." And then he had said, he knows a guy that worked for Bell South back in the day, and when he was about to retire, AT&T was about to buy. So when he retired, he gave me a service package, a lot of free stocks or whatever. So he said he's a day trader. He explained to me what that was. He showed me his papers for the day. And the guy made like $3,000 in a day from just like trading. So I said, "Well, I don't know much about this, but I'm trying to figure it out." So at the time, I was working in Kroger in high school, and he had said, "Well, ask your HR people if they have like an employee stock program." I said, "Okay, cool." So I did start investing into stocks back then. It was right out of high school, and the only thing I do was buy low, sell high. That was the only thing I did. So anyway, I did that for about a year, and just kept telling me to take more and more every week. And then the iPhone 1 came out, and back then they didn't have like a
You just ate
iPhone with the iPhone ass on the back of it.
Right, so it was the iPhone 1 came out, and it was $499. I didn't know I was going to pay for it. I was like, "I don't have $500 for a phone." I said, "I got those stocks." So I called the number. They said, "How much do you want to sell?" I said, "I need $500." She said, "Well, you got to tell us about the shares." She explained it to me. I sold the shares. They sent the check out. The check came. I cashed the check, and I went to the store, to AT&T store, and paid for the phone. And I said, "Wow, this paid for stocks." And ever since then, I just been toward away since.
Wow,
So
that's good.
that's what's up.
What about you?
Yeah, my story it's long-winded, but I'm not gonna go super duper long. To make it short, my mom actually was in banking for a while. And as I was a kid, I used to actually act like I was a banker. So kind of like that. Didn't get into it right when I graduated. Should have, but I didn't. And then when I finally switched over to that platform, I really liked it. I understood, finances in and out, really good in math. And I just kind of stuck with it. The main thing now in my focus and the reason why I actually left the banking industry was to actually help more people in the community, because everybody in the community don't go to the banking. But if I can get out here and reach people, to me, I'm making an even more bigger impact. And that's what I've been doing.
So I got a degree in economics from TSU. Shout out to TSU State. And so from there, I got a chance to work on Wall Street straight out of school. So I spent several years on Wall Street and just started to realize that I wanted to do something a little bit more client-based. You know what I'm saying? Not so much just about the numbers, but actually going back into the community, trying to teach them some of the things that I had learned on the street. And so because of that, I came back and I met a guy named Sean Johnson. I owe everything to that guy. Yeah, black guy in Nashville. at Edward Jones. I'm always going to talk about him because he basically took me under his wing and showed me the game. That was where I first started, was at Edward Jones. I didn't stay there because I just saw more opportunity and I could do some more stuff outside of it. And so I took everything that I learned from there and then started my own thing. And so, you know, just blessed to be able to come together with some people that had kind of a like mind and kind of build something together that's going to be a little bit different.
Awesome. That's good. That's really good. That you guys, like your parents, introduced you to, you know, starting finances, and that you had a mentor, you know, that kind of helped you out with that as well. Okay, so let's kind of just jump right into the meat of the topics. So I guess we'll start like early on when you are young, maybe fresh out of high school, going into college. I know like the big thing is save your money, you know? So what does that like look like for someone maybe just starting out, or someone who maybe like our age, he doesn't really know like how to save? Like what kind of tips would you give?
I think that you got to start before you even start talking about that. You got to start talking about inflation, which I like to call spending money. Let's be honest. At the end of the day, you spend your money. You know what I'm saying? So no matter if it's putting it from here over here, yeah, you're doing something with your money. So first, establishing a good spending plan. So what that looks like is basically looking at what your expenses are. You know, even if you're in college, whatever, kind of looking at. And the easiest way to do that is look at the last 3 statements of your bank. That's gonna show you what you do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So really go through and see, okay, this is where I'm spending my money, right? Because a lot of times you don't even realize that you're spending money in areas that you probably shouldn't be, right? So you don't need Hulu, Netflix, like, you know what I'm saying, Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify. Like, why do you have Spotify?
You got every streaming
You know what I'm saying?
platform,
Like,
every one.
why do you have all of those?
But you don't have a cable bill.
You know?
No cap.
Well, I'm not spending all this money on cable, but when you add all of that up, you're practically spending money on cable.
Exactly. So once you've established what those true expenses are, right? And now we figure out, okay, one of the craziest things that I see all the time is when I ask people how much money do you make, and they look at me like they don't know. Like, you know how much money, especially if you work for somebody and you're a W-2 employee, you know what that check is going to be like every 14 days. Like, don't look at me crazy. You know what's coming in, right? So figure out what that is, even if you acting like you don't know. Right? So, all right, now we realize that my expenses are here, my income is this. Do I have a surplus or am I running at a deficit? That's where we have to start first, right? Because if you're running at a deficit, saving money is not an option.
Right.
Right? Because I tell clients all the time, there's 2 things you can do. Cut expenses or make more money. Right?
That's it, bro. Them your
No,
only
no
option.
matter what we talk about, cut expenses or make more money.
That's
Now, here's what I tell clients. Make more money. I want to live how I want to live.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of cutting all these expenses, let me just figure out how can I make more money.
Yep.
Now, that might not be something that you can do, you know, tomorrow or the next day, but let's kind of figure that out. Right? Now that we've established, say we got a surplus, I got, you know, $1,500 left over at the end of the month, but I don't know where it's going because I just been spending. I've been going to this bar, that bar every week.
That's how it goes.
You know what I'm saying?
That's how it goes.
So here's the easiest thing for people to do when you first start out. Automate your savings.
Yes.
Right? So I'm automated, and then you're hiding it from being stolen from you.
Right.
Because if you just got a checking account and a savings account, usually what happens is as soon as your checking account get low, you just transfer the money
just
from
slide low.
checking.
And start off small. Start off small and work your way up. You
Yeah.
can start off where it ain't you ain't thinking about it.
Right.
You know? And then gradually work your way up. That's what I always tell people. Don't jump out there and say, well, I'm gonna save $300 a month. You ain't been saving $300.
Right.
That's gonna be
You know what I'm saying?
Whatever
You gotta be realistic. It's habits.
Sometimes people can't afford to do it, right? But you just gotta be disciplined. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you can't afford to save that $300 a month, and you probably got it, but you just been spending that $300 on, you know, them new sneakers, or you know, you want to buy Gucci, Louis, whatever, right? I get it, but you know, right? So once you establish that, all right, now we're gonna automate our savings, and now here's where people stop. They usually say, okay, now I'm saving money into my bank account. But the issue with saving money in a bank account is it's not paying you anything. So now your money's not working for you. So people come see us because we show you how to make that money work for you. So one gem I'm gonna leave y'all with for sure is that if you don't understand this, you don't understand how money works. It's called the Rule of 72. And so basically what the Rule of 72 says is that how many years is it gonna take for my money to double? And if my money's sitting at a savings account, he worked at Regions for 10 years, right?
Not at Regions at 10 years, but I was
in banking for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
How much right now is
101?
There you go. So if we apply that to the Rule of 72, let's just be nice and say it's paying 1% because it's just simple math. We know it ain't paying 1%. I'm telling y'all right now it's not. But it would take 72 years for that money to double. So basically what you do, take the number 72 divided by the interest that you're receiving on your money. So that's 72 years. Now, everybody in this room don't have 72 years for your money to just be waiting for you. Right? On top of that, there's a bigger issue called inflation. Inflation on average is 3%. So if prices around us is getting more expensive because that's what inflation is, by 3%, and I'm only receiving 1% on my money or less, I'm actually trailing at a negative.
Right.
So by my money sitting in the bank, I'm actually losing money. Right. So the idea is first is that I'm going to establish a habit that I'm going to start putting money in there. Right. But now that we got that going, now we need to move that into somewhere where that money can make us money so that we can start doing the stuff that we're talking about. And, it's really called compound interest, but I'm not going to bore y'all with all the details of that. But that's how we start the process.
And I'm going to say another thing too, man, my main thing and what I tell people, and Terrence specializes in this too, and I've been learning a lot from him, protect yourself. You can't do anything if you're not protected, because your mindset, you kind of just reacting without having in the back of your mind, okay, I'm protected. Prime example, I left Regions, I left in September, I lost $750,000 worth of insurance stuff. I got 3 kids and a wife. So the first thing on my mind when I left, I came to Marcus. First thing I said was, bro, I gotta protect my family. Is that not what I said?
That's exactly what you said.
I gotta protect my family because I'm not gonna be able to do all of this.
Right.
And they're not protected. If something happened to me, I'm gonna feel like, if something happens to me, and they can't take care of what I'm taking care of. You know what I'm saying? So I always tell people protect themselves. Another thing too, I'm gonna throw this out here. I'm not gonna go too deep on it, but credit is important. When you graduate from high school, I was told don't get it. You don't.
I think we all were told that.
Don't get a credit card.
Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't go get a car finance. Don't. And you got this mindset of fear, and then when you get it, you're reacting off fear. And you start fumbling, and that's where I think a lot of the credit mistakes start. So I honestly tell people, especially out of high school, I love talking to people transitioning out of high school and just giving them that education because it's important. Credit is very important.
I would say that I feel like this is maybe just my personal opinion, and you guys can agree or disagree. But when it comes to like credit cards and that sort of thing, I feel like that our generation, like our parents, weren't necessarily taught about credit. They're just like, oh, we'll get this credit card, get that credit card, and then it's they're racking up, and then now they're like up here in debt. And then, so it's like, oh, well, I don't want my kids to do that. So I'm telling you, don't get a credit card. Because instead of teaching them how to properly manage your credit card, like, when you do have a credit card and you use it, pay it off immediately. Like, don't let it like stack up, because that's where you get in a lot of trouble.
I mean, people make a lot of mistakes with the credit card because it's not your money.
Right.
So you're spending future dollars, but we just talked about how you probably didn't create a budget or a spending plan for that. Now you don't really even know how to budget yourself. So how are you going to properly use the credit card? But what most people miss the mark is that wealthy people are using credit.
Yes.
And they're using that and they're leveraging that to make money.
Yes.
Right. So these buildings and all these stuff that's just coming up in Nashville and all these cities, they ain't paying cash for that. They're using somebody else's money.
Right.
And then they're making money off of that. So that whole notion about not using credit, we gotta just throw that away.
Yeah, it's about how you do it. It's a way to do it properly.
And another thing too, me going back to that, saying, I know I wasn't taught about credit. I know this for a fact. I turned 18 and I balled, so and
congratulations, real.
I ball and I fall, You know what I'm saying?
Graduation was real nice.
And I wasn't taught, but another thing I was not taught how to do was to invest.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I knew nothing about investing. So now that I know those kind of things and I know how far you can actually be ahead of the game if you start early. I mean, I've seen it. I've seen 18-year-olds literally, and they would come in with their parents, their birthday gift is a credit card. By the time they turn 20, 21, they got a house. They got all of these different assets, and we're just getting this. Yeah, we're stuck. You know, we're stuck. And it's important. So investing in different things like that, getting life insurance, all of that stuff, 401ks, everything that we do is in line with what's needed as far as growth, financial growth, you know, and that's why we really just came together. It's honestly a blessing that, you know, the way everything worked out, we was actually able to come together, because I don't know nobody better than this man in life insurance. I'm gonna be honest with you. I done seen it, you know, and as far as me, you know, I got the credit thing down paid. I do investments, but I don't know nobody that know much as he does in investments. And I work with financial advisors daily.
Y'all like the financial Migos.
I'm
over
telling
there.
you, man, it's
Y'all money Migos.
it's a
over
real
there.
dream team, man. It's not normal for 3 black men to come together.
Right.
And be on that
And have
same
this
accord.
knowledge of wealth.
Especially when you're doing something real similar, because, you know, a lot of times it's like a competition thing. I've been in the game for a while now. You know what I'm saying? This ain't my first rodeo at this thing, right?
Right.
And so it is kind of hard to find people who actually want to team up and do some stuff together versus everybody trying to do their own.
Everybody trying to eat off each other.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the difference in this generation for Black financial advisors. Because we kind of doing a little something different when it comes to this part of it, right? And there's some OGs in the city that's been doing some great things, but they all individual. You know what I'm saying? And so the fact that we all decided to come together, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. So really quickly, I kind of want to see if we can tackle some of these topics that we have. So 401ks, I know, are important. You know, fresh, you getting a job.
Yeah.
How early should you get a 401k? Like, what does that look like? Immediately.
Okay. So let's break down the 401k for just 1 second. So first of all, 401k is just an IRS tax code, just meaning retired. So some people on here might not have 401k, it might be called a 457 plan, right? That means you will probably work for the government. Or somebody might be a teacher and they might have a 403b. All of those are pretty much the same thing, that just classified differently based on what type of entity you work for. So that's number one. The second thing about it is most people don't understand that when the 401k was first invented, it was actually a 3-part system. So let's work that down, right? Main hub being 401k, pension,
Right.
Social Security. So now when you retire, I got 3 buckets to happen over time. Companies stop paying pension, it was expensive,
Yeah.
right? Social Security is starting to look a little different, right? So when it first came out, it was 65, now 67. By the time most people listen to this, it's probably gonna be 72.
Yeah.
What's happening? You got more baby boomers pulling out than you have us millennials putting in. So that's gonna deplete, right? And so the issue is gonna come for a lot of people who are listening is that, number one, most people think maxing a 401k out is putting 3% or doing the match of your employee. That is false, right? The most money you can put in a 401k is 19.5. Now that might change this year because it's a new year. It might go up $500. But how many people do you really think are putting $20,000 in their 401k?
Nobody I know.
So most people aren't doing that. We all agree, right?
Right.
Right.
But I told y'all it was a 3-part system.
Okay.
Pension's gone. 401k, I mean your Social Security is gonna be pushed back.
Yeah.
What do you think is gonna happen when we get to retirement? We ain't gonna have enough money,
Yeah, ain't none.
right? And we're not even thinking about that. And you know, we were talking about it, I think last week, that everybody wants to build a business right now, right? Which is great, but y'all leaving some great jobs to start a business that's probably not gonna last for peanuts.
Mhm.
If we're being honest.
And then we get to retirement if we gonna happen.
Right.
Right? That's gonna be an issue. And so part of what we're doing is trying to fill that gap.
Yeah.
To make sure that if we do decide to take that leap of faith to start, you know, a business, because I mean it's so much flux and flows that goes with that.
Yeah.
That we actually had a proper plan in place to kind of talk about some of those pitfalls that kind of come up. So answering the original question, absolutely. As soon as you are able to invest in your 401k, absolutely do. Especially if they're gonna match you.
Yes.
Now, if they're not gonna match you, then we can kind of talk about a couple things, just because every dollar that goes into a 401k is probably pre-tax, meaning that you haven't paid any taxes on that money. So when you pull the money out, which is another issue, right? Now you got to pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
Now,
And most people don't know that either.
now I tell people all the time that, do you think taxes are going up or down?
Definitely going up.
Exactly. So not only am I putting all my money in this 401k, I gotta pay more taxes. It ain't gonna be enough. Social Security gonna be
Gone.
no pension.
Well, it's over.
What am I doing?
You setting yourself up for the elderly 100.
Right.
Elderly
But
100.
there are some stuff that you can. So my main point of saying that is not to scare people, but to give them the reality. But the reality is that you can't depend on your employer to bring your retirement planning for you. Right? Because if you call right now, if your plan provider is Fidelity and you say, am I on track for retirement, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. Like they don't know anything about you. So how you gonna call them and ask them about that? So I tell people all the time that retirement.
You're gonna have that little automated robot on the website.
There you go.
Trying to talk.
Trying to talk.
And that ain't gonna get you.
Retirement is not a do-it-yourself project, no matter how you look at it, right? You got to get somebody, like Johnson Cal was planning to kind of come in and help, facilitate that for you so that you can have a plan in place.
I know you hit on businesses,
Yeah.
so I know that's another topic that we have to discuss.
Mhm.
So for people that are starting businesses, LLCs, that sort of thing, like what kind of advice can you give to them? Just general advice without.
Yeah. I know he got some stuff to add to this, but the number one thing is always do it in conjunction with like a CPA who can kind of help figure out what structure you should use, right? So I know LLC is real popular because people know what that is, right? Limited liability company, meaning that if somebody sues you, you have limited liability, right? But that might not be the best tax structure for you. Maybe you should have an S corp, right? Maybe you should be an incorporation, right? So there's so many different ways that you can kind of structure that. I always tell people to make sure you talk to some type of tax professional to kind of help make sure that and attorney. And then the other thing to go with that too is we're starting all these businesses, and then when you're doing it with partners, making sure that you have a buy-sell agreement. And so what is that? And not only having it just on paper, but having it fully funded. And how do we fully fund it? We do that through life insurance, right? Because what happens is all three of us are in business together, right? If something happens to me, they don't want to be in business with my family.
Right.
And my family may not have the capability or the knowledge to fulfill whatever that is.
Right.
So what we do is everybody in that business takes a life insurance policy on each other. Something happens to me, in the buy-sell agreement is going to mandate that we sell that portion to whoever, and the life insurance pays for it tax-free. So people look at life insurance as it being just a one-trick pony, but it's split, cut, all different type of ways. You know what I mean? Like even at the University of Michigan with what's the Harbaugh, the coach. They have what they call a key man policy on him, which means that they bought a life insurance on him. The school is the beneficiary, so if something happens to them, the school's gonna get paid out. But the benefit for Joe Harbaugh is that as Joe is born.
I think it's John. I think it's John.
I don't know. One of them.
One of them.
That is going to build tax-free cash that he has access to, that he can pull out tax-free. Right? So you can flip it, cut it, and use it so many different type of ways, man. We just don't know about it.
And another thing too, with the business aspect, you got to look at once you're forming that full responsibility, you gotta invest. You gotta protect yourself. You gotta do all of those things that your company was doing for you. And that's a big thing to kind of get into, and that's another reason why you need a plan. You gotta have a plan, especially when you're jumping out there and making those kind of decisions. I would definitely agree with that.
Well, being that you hit on the life insurance policy between the three of you all, Terrence, let's come down your view since you're the life insurance guru of these social media streets and Johnson Capital and whatnot. So what are your takes on life insurance? Because I know you are a very big advocate of don't just depend on your job's life insurance policy. Like if any of you all follow Terrence on Facebook or on Instagram, y'all will see him say two things: no cap, and do not depend on your job's life insurance policy as your only safety blanket. So speak to us about that.
Of course, don't depend on it, because I would say the most real messages I've received was I've had two separate people reach out to me, basically where a relative had passed away in between jobs, and they had reached out to the old employer to say, hey, we need to do what we need to do with our money. And they was like, no, that's not how it works. That person is no longer with us. And so between jobs, they was basically on the hook for a few. And so, and there's basically nothing that you can do about it, because that policy isn't being funded anymore.
Right.
So with me, of course, my dad, he passed away in 2013, and he always, at least a few times a year, he would tell us where everything he had was at. So when he did pass, it was so smooth. Like we would have called, what to send the death certificate to.
Yes.
Very important. Yeah.
It was
You should harp on that just a little bit more, because sometimes
estate planning.
our parents have stuff,
Mhm.
but you don't know where it is.
Yeah, you don't know where it is.
That's
Yeah.
not helping.
And you know
Yeah,
what you're
don't
doing? You waiting, you going to the mailbox every day.
Every
I
day.
see it all the time.
Yeah.
Seen it in banking. For 90 days, 3 months, because a lot of stuff comes quarterly. It don't come monthly. And you sitting there waiting, and stuff just coming in like, I didn't even know you had this.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had
Yeah,
this.
no, I know my mom and dad, my dad passed away Thanksgiving 2014, and it was pretty smooth.
Mhm.
It was him, because he and my mom, they had a plan, they talked about it, they told me and my sister Jasmine where everything was. And so, I understand about, the beneficiaries and signing paperwork, and who's primary and secondary and all that good stuff.
And to go with that, when you talk about the beneficiary, yeah, that's cool for if you got joint property together with somebody, or you're the beneficiary of somebody's 401k or IRA or life insurance. But what about the stuff that there is no benefit, like your business or your real estate?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, touching on the estate planning, like I tell people all the time, like you may not think that you need a will, but you need a will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And having that stuff documented.
And speaking of that, not to just throw all of my business out, but I had a relative that passed away. She was older, and she left me and my little sister some things, as well as my uncle, and my uncle got half of it, and then my sister got 25% of it a piece. But we had to wait on it because she just wrote it down on a piece of paper and got it notarized by somebody.
Yeah.
So it wasn't technical. I mean, in her mind,
Yeah.
because like what you said
She got it
earlier,
notarized, yeah.
in her mind, but I got a
It's a legal
professional.
document.
It's a legal document,
Right,
and to
right.
some degree, it kind of is, but
Yeah.
it can be, but it's
And
not.
it can be contested.
It can. Fortunately, it was in a small town.
Right.
My mom grew up with the judge of the main judge.
That's
So
not
we
gonna be
actually,
everybody's story.
that's not gonna be everybody's
Right.
story. We wound up catching a break, but in a city like Nashville,
Nah.
no, that's not
Because it's
happening.
gonna go through probate. It's
Yep.
gonna go, and that's basically having more taxes, more administrative costs,
Yep.
et cetera, and it could just be a
That's
huge
cool.
headache. And so for somebody who doesn't have a will but has maybe a couple of heirs, what happens when they want to fight over property?
Yeah.
Or say you don't have anything, and then the money just goes to the state. I know.
And that'd be the worst.
I was reading about
Yeah.
somebody's.
It's hard to get that money.
I couldn't remember who the exact person's name, but it was a big time person. And you would think that they would have stuff in order, but literally he didn't have any documentation in order.
Oh, Prince.
Well, not even just Prince, but $40 million went to the state of New York.
I think Aretha Franklin didn't have like a will or something like set in place to
Right.
kind of say what happens
These are facts.
when she passes away. So how important is it to have a life insurance policy?
Very, because a portion of two very important. Because the last thing you want to deal with is losing a child or a parent, and you got to figure out how you're going to do it. I couldn't imagine, going through that and trying to come up with that kind of money.
Right.
Quick,
Of course, quick. Yeah.
Wait, 2 weeks, man.
So that, then also, it's like I don't have any kids, so my money's going to go to my mom and my brother. So if something happens to me, I know that they're going to be, devastated to say the least. So that being said, I want them to have some money to, of course, live off of. I don't want to pass away, and then they got to worry about you know, hey, we got Cal Mortgage next week,
Right.
or Rick next week, whatever. And then also, if they need any types of therapy, they can go to therapy. They can take some time off to grieve properly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't grieve properly after people pass away. They just kind of just take it all in and deal with it.
Yeah.
So basically, just things like that to make the people that you leave behind lives easier.
Yeah, make them comfortable.
And I'm gonna add something real quick: protection of assets,
Yeah.
protection of debt.
I was gonna
I was
say
gonna say,
that
that ain't going nowhere.
because debt
Yeah.
passes on. Somebody's gonna have to
Yeah.
share.
Somebody take care of it.
Somebody has to take care of that debt.
And this is
Well-
what they call a life insurance trust.
Yeah.
But that's getting real technical.
Right,
If you
right.
want some more information about credit shelters and stuff like that, we can
Right.
talk about that.
Yeah.
At Johnson Capital Planning.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not giving that free. That's just
Yeah,
too much
don't
free
get
game
no
right
free
there.
info.
Too much. That's too
But
much.
there are some stuff that you can do, but for most people, they don't even know that those options are even available.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said,
Yeah.
you know, grunts and stuff like that. So people just don't even have that knowledge to even think about that type of stuff. So but that's real key because that debt is not going anywhere.
Like if you go get a mortgage, you should have a policy matching that mortgage.
Facts.
Okay.
You know, because if something happens to
And
you,
it
that
can be the
mortgage is
same
gonna
term.
pay though.
Yeah.
So if you got
So-
a 30-year mortgage, go get you a
Get
30-year term.
policy.
Yeah.
So basically what they saying is have your affairs in order because Debo and Smokey definitely gonna be coming back for their money.
They're gonna be
Debo
waiting for
been
you
word.
at the door.
Debo been word. Got my money,
That's what the
Smokey.
biggest one is, though. I'm saying.
I'm saying.
He want to get paid off everything. So we talk about estate planning. Guess what? There is something called federal estate tax.
Yep.
Right? And states have state tax too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So guess what? I'm saying I'm gonna get paid off.
Yeah, he snatched
I'm
it.
never gonna get paid regardless.
And he
Yo,
snatched
man.
that grandmother's chain off your neck.
You know what I'm
Eat all of it. Eat it all. Golly,
I'm
man.
not.
Well, real quick, man, I know that this was just a real basic, just kind of real basic intro, getting people more familiar with Johnson Capital Planning, with the credit bros, with Terrence and his life insurance policies and things like that. Real quick, from each one of you all, what is one of the wildest stories? Obviously, no names to be mentioned.
Of course, never.
What's one of the wildest stories each one of you all have had when it comes to dealing with money?
I just
Personally,
They all say,
whether
I just told
personally
you.
or if clients, either one. What you got?
I had a lady in here $1.2 million and ran through it literally in 2 years. Kept trying to talk to her, telling her invest, put the money up, invest, put the money up. The next time I saw her, she was asking me for an overdraft refund. This is facts. Ran through $1.2 million in 2 years. Gone. No planning, no financial planning. Let the money go right in her checking account.
She bought 4 things. She bought 2 Richard Mille watches and 2 Bentley
She bought.
Rolls Royce Wraiths.
Wow.
She felt like she didn't need no help,
Wow.
no planning. And the next time I seen her, literally, she came to my office asking me for a fee refund.
Wow.
Ooh, that's rough.
That's
Okay,
facts.
Terrence, what you got?
What you got?
My
Terrence?
story was actually me. It was about I was telling you about the other day. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, I was at work and I was sitting there and I said, let me try this trade. So co-worker, he was like, yeah, man, look at this stock ticker I looked at. I said, okay, let's do it. Put like $1,000 into this particular penny stock, and it went up and up. It's like, okay, cool, it went up. And then my phone and my server started acting up. I was like, okay, cool, I'll be right later. Come back from lunch, I'm down like $800. And I'm like, wow, like all of this from basically gambling and then not knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So this is why I tell people do not trade when you get started. And if you do, at least have an idea about what you're doing. So just lost a lot of money just trying to follow the trend, which is why I tell everybody don't follow the trend.
And I'm gonna go even deeper too. Taking bad advice. And we see it all the time. We don't talk about it. We kind of just watch it. I know I see it in comments and people telling people to do stuff. Man, especially
Listening to social media comments.
when it comes to credit, And I've got to the point, I used to go in there and, you know, answer and try to, you know, just give people the right advice. But now it's just, I just let them do their thing. But the thing is, and this is with finances, with credit, with whatever the case may be, nobody knows your situation.
Right.
Nobody.
So if they don't know your situation, they can't give you the advice.
Right.
I see people tell people, get a credit card, do it. How you know if that person ain't got 30 invoices? You gonna tell them, go apply for something else? You know, or the money aspect, you know, saving, telling people to jump in these kind of stocks. You're not no financial expert.
Right.
You gotta stop. We gotta really, especially right now, it's critical. We got some left right now, but we really gotta get that plan.
Yeah.
It's important. Like it's important.
You right, man. Terrence will tell you, man. I see something online. I see something that I think about. I will text him, like, bro, what you think about that?
Man,
I gotta stay away from it.
I got two real quick. Go ahead.
It says
You got started, go for it.
lost life savings.
It's for the short testing.
Wow.
Don't even know what short means.
Please help me out. $45 out of his 60 bands.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and he probably watched the YouTube video,
Right.
or he could have been on Clubhouse. I don't know.
And you
You know,
don't
I'm
realize
just
you
saying.
need credit in order for you to get a credit card. Like, you gotta have some type of credit there
Yeah.
before they just.
Sometimes collateral.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different things out there now, as far as like credit building tools that they will approve you because you're paying them money.
Right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's helping you.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with saving or investing in different things like that. There's stuff out there that will lure you in and then suck you out.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting with the right people to get the right advice.
Okay,
So,
Marcus, go ahead
What
with
you
your
got,
two
Marcus?
stories and then we'll jump into our thing.
Okay. I don't mean to bring the mood down, but this is a real life situation, man.
Here it is.
And here we go. Real life situation. I met with a couple that had 2 kids. I went through because what I tell people, I do full comprehensive financial plan, right? So it's not one or the other. So I'm doing pretty much everything. And so I found a need that they needed to get coverage because the husband just left work, he didn't have any coverage. Okay. And so they told me they would think about it, right? I'm sitting in the meeting, conversation, say, I think I should do this now. I'm sitting down, we'll get back to you. A week later, he died in a motorcycle accident. Amen. No coverage, no nothing, right? 2 kids.
And now the wife got to eat them.
Now the wife got to eat this, right? And so part of me is saying that I had this conversation with y'all, right? But the human in me said, okay, because what happened was they had no funding, and you know, people was.
Yeah.
But in the back of my head, I'm like, we had this conversation. You know what I'm saying? So you made a conscious decision that you didn't want to do this. But the other part of me said, okay, I'm human. We all make mistakes, right? But now this is not the time to kind of chastise you. So I definitely contributed to it. But in the back of my head, I definitely had that, like, all right, you know, we had this conversation.
Right.
So that was one thing. So one of the things is if you got something and you just hesitate to pull the trigger because you're just doing or procrastinating, that's not going to be helpful for you, right?
Yeah.
And so that, to me, that was like one of the biggest lessons I saw in this whole thing.
I got another story real quick. This lady did not procrastinate. She didn't hesitate. She actually got a whole life policy, got it funded. She died 2 days later. This is facts. She got hit by a bus. She got hit by a bus. She got hit by a bus. Well, I'm just being honest. She got hit by a bus, but she actually did not hesitate, and her family was taken care of. So that's a true story that happened. That was actually a bank line that happened.
That's wild, bro. That's a 2020 Final Fantasy.
So there you go.
Wow. Okay, so this part of our podcast is called the think tank. And this phone is random questions.
Right.
You just say the first thing that comes in your mind, and you answer these questions, okay?
Okay.
All right?
Some of them be
So
wild.
go ahead and pass it
I'm
down.
gonna give y'all the
Anyone
heads
that,
up.
like, they random.
They random.
They random.
Some of them be wild.
Some of them could be serious, some of them could be,
Yeah.
you know, jokes.
Gotcha.
Who knows? You just pick it and run with it. And
Oh wow.
Marcus, we'll start with you.
Oh man.
Mine ain't that bad.
Hopefully I ain't get a whack one.
Yeah, mine ain't that bad.
I got this one already.
No, you couldn't
I
have.
did. I got a very similar one to it.
Mine ain't bad.
Last
Mine is
episode.
it's date night. Your significant other actually cook. What do you think?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, that's about to say, that's almost too
That's
easy.
almost too easy. I feel like I should do it.
Let's give him another.
Answer it.
I'm making some type of pasta. Like, you know what I'm saying? Something easy, something, you know.
Bruh.
Oh my goodness.
Something quick, man. That was too easy.
Alfredo.
Yeah, exactly, man.
That's an easy way out.
Go ahead, T. Go ahead, T.
Go ahead.
A celebrity you were married on the spot would be her.
Oh yeah. Again, that's one of those things where if you follow you know that already. If y'all follow Terrence, you knew that one already.
Okay, Chris, go ahead.
When did you decide to grow up? The day I seen my son born, my first son. First son, Chris Jr. The day he came out, I knew I had to grow up. So it was
Awesome.
time out for playtime.
Yeah.
Okay, Marcus.
All right. So, would you run through a restaurant naked for $50? Hell no.
Kitchen.
For him, that $50 not covering the meal between
You know what I'm saying?
between you and the wife. That 50, that's not even covering your bottle of wine, bro.
wow, man.
You still got a bill
I still
left.
got to feel that.
Yeah, that's not even covering your bottle of wine.
Even if it was like McDonald's or something.
First of all, I ain't going to McDonald's. Number two, hell no.
How much would you do it for?
I don't know, man. You better add 2 more zeros.
Oh man, you might be pricing yourself out the game. Yeah, you can put a comma in there. We might can talk about something.
Go ahead.
So mine's is easy, but I kind of feel like I've had this one before. Shout out your favorite black business.
No.
I had what black business are you supporting in 2020? Our Christmas episode. I had one very similar.
Okay.
Sheesh, I don't know. For the sake of this episode, we're gonna say Johnson Capital Planning LLC, the Credit Brothers. Shameless plug. But let's see. I'm a MassCtv. They eyed, you know, MassCtv. Oh damn, I got the wrong. MassCtv is cool. So I'm gonna go MassCtv. My big dogs down in Atlanta. They own Oak Nightclub in Atlanta. If y'all follow me on social media, then y'all know that those are my guys. Rock with them very tough. They just announced they were opening up a vegan bar in Atlanta. So them and Slutty Vegan and all them about to be getting it in.
Yeah.
So they really cooking and whatnot. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go Johnson Capital Planning, Credit Brothers, MassCtv, and Oak Nightclub.
Awesome. Mine says add bacon or add cheese, and I would add either.
Oh, good.
I don't bacon. And I don't like adding cheese on anything. Because I'm lactose.
I was gonna say.
I know, man.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so very much for joining us today.
So be sure to tell look at the cameras and tell it's that one. Tell everybody it's that one. You all social media handles so that everybody can tap in with y'all and whatnot. We'll just start from you, Marcus, and
Yes, and how they can find you, get more information if they want to start their financial planning.
Yeah, so you can always go to our website, johnsoncap.com. There's a little section where you can contact and come straight to us so we can get your information. Or you can shoot me an email at marcus@johnsoncap.com as well. And on social media, you can find us at Johnson Capital Planning. And then my personal one is Marcus Deontay J.
Oh, and Marcus plays the saxophone.
Oh yeah, we do bookings too over here. We do bookings as well. So
I listen to your album every now and again.
I appreciate that.
I do.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. New album's coming soon. I know we ain't here. I ain't here to talk about
Go
that.
ahead, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? But you gonna give me a little time.
talk about it. Hey, go ahead.
New album coming. If you like smooth jazz, then you would definitely rock with my first project was called Passion Speaks Louder. And this next project is gonna be called Passion Over Everything. So, a lot of stuff coming with Passion Over Everything. I ain't gonna talk too much about that yet, but it's coming.
And speaking of that, you know, I have an idea that just popped in my mind for an event, so we gonna chop.
Lord, let's do it.
We go chop. You can reach me at Chris at thecreditbros.com. Also too, I'm part of Johnson Capital as well, so you can reach me on the Johnson Cap website. We have a Facebook page, The Credit Bros, and then Instagram, I'm financialexpert_615. Facebook, Christopher Watson, type in Nashville, you got it.
Go.
Same with me. You can reach out to Johnson Capital on Facebook. Terrence Holt, Terrence with an E. On Facebook and Instagram would be Terrence615.
Financial guru.
Yes. That is him.
Awesome. And as you all know, you can follow MassCtv on Instagram and Facebook. We got merch, y'all.
Merch available.
So make sure y'all check us out. Get y'all merch. You can follow 28th and Jefferson Podcast on Instagram, Facebook. Be sure to share this episode, like us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and share. We'll definitely link their contact information so that you can access them as well.
For
You
sure.
can follow Pat.
Y'all know me, Schoolboy P. Also follow me at Creative Socialite Group, spelled exactly how it sounds. And I just got on Clubhouse at Schoolboy P. So go on and tap in with me. Let's chop it up.
Awesome. And I'm taking a social media hiatus right now. So, but I'll let you guys know when I get back on there. But my handle is Bubbly Beauty 3. And we will discuss probably kind of maybe having some additional conversation on Clubhouse. Is it over?
I don't know what just happened.
Is it?
No.
Oh,
You still?
maybe it just says.
Maybe on
Sorry,
that.
guys. But anyway, that's it. And we out.
We out.
All right.
Awesome.
Oh,